You may have heard a lot about encryption lately. That's because governments are threatening to outlaw what they call strong encryption. This is a dangerous and misguided approach which has the potential to put everyone and everything online at increased risk. To understand why, we have to learn about what encryption is and how it works. Encryption, as used in computing and communications, is a way of encoding data so that it can only be read by the intended recipient. We leverage encryption to secure our online communications. In this way, encryption is used every day by everyone. It protects our financial transactions, including payment terminals, online shopping, and online banking. It allows us to keep data private from criminals or spying governments. It's also essential for securely transmitting passwords to online services when we log on to them. This may all sound like magic, but with a little explanation, you can form a basic understanding of how encryption works. First, you need to understand the difference between symmetric and asymmetric encryption keys, the mathematical algorithms which make encryption possible. A symmetric key can be used both to encrypt and decrypt the same information. But an asymmetric key can only be used either to encrypt or decrypt information. One key can't do both. We need a public key to encrypt and a private key to decrypt. This is important. If you want to make sure that only your intended recipient can read your message, then that recipient gives out only the key to encrypt. We call that the public key. The recipient keeps the private key secret, used to decrypt. This way, if you encrypt a message using the recipient's public key, you know that only the recipient will be able to read it, since only they have the private key. In addition to this, the mathematical algorithms used by these keys ensure that even trying to guess the private key by brute force will take a very long time, even with our most powerful computers. So encryption, as we use it, relies on two factors: strong math and the logistics of keeping a private key secret. The effectiveness of encryption has made some law enforcement upset. They feel that they should be able to access anything they want at will or by warrant. But encryption doesn't work this way. They've proposed that governments pass laws to mandate that encrypted information can be accessed at will by law enforcement. Unfortunately, there's no way to do this. If they mandate weakening the math, or specifically the algorithms used by encryption, then anyone with sufficient computing power could break into encrypted communications using brute force. Alternatively, they might mandate weakening the logistics so that the private key isn't private. Every law enforcement agency would have a copy of a master key which could unlock any encryption scheme. In both of these cases, it becomes trivial for hackers to unlock encryption, either because they have sufficient computing power or because they've stolen or deciphered the master key. Yoink. Criminals would run rampant online because of the cost of amassing computer power, or the logistics of stealing the master key would be trivial compared with the potential gains of reading any and all encrypted traffic. They'd be able to steal data and money from all manner of victims. Terrorists or hostile governments will be able to attack civilian infrastructure with ease, including power grids, hospitals, or government services. And authoritarian governments will either brute force weak encryption or compel companies legally to give them a copy of the master key, allowing them additional tools to oppress free journalism and minorities. Law enforcement agencies want to access information the same way they can break down a door to access a building. They only see encryption as an obstacle, but encryption doesn't work the way that the physical world does. We can't compromise it without compromising everything that we depend on. Encryption is a critical part of our IT infrastructure. Making it illegal would be like requiring bridges and buildings to suddenly remove all of their steel. The result would be the same: catastrophic collapse. Everyone should be concerned about this issue. If you want to make your voice heard, you should contact your elected government representative. You can also add your name to OpenMedia's campaign to protect encryption. Encryption is a complex topic, and we've only just scratched the surface. If you want to learn more, you can check out some of the links in the description.